Hey, Daily Dosers, this is Connor, your outreach pastor, and we've done it. We've done Serve Week. We had Give Week, Serve Week, and now it is Love Week. And Love Week is pretty amazing. And here's the thing I'll say. I think our church does a great job of giving. In fact, you did. You gave above and beyond. And serving, you did. You went above and beyond. And here, I'm going to say, could be the most challenging week yet because it involves us actually moving relationally towards other people. And people are messy. People are unpredictable. And sometimes we don't know what they're going to do or say. So oftentimes we feel comfortable giving and serving. But this love part, man, it can be a challenge. And so what I hope to do today is just to encourage you that this is something that actually impacted me deeply at a time and my walk with God. And I think the same could be true for you too as you interact with other people. And so the way we're encouraging you this week is to move towards someone by sharing your time, your talent, your treasure, or maybe even your testimony. And here I'll share a little bit of my testimony, but also a little bit of how someone gave me their time and it changed my life. So I was 21 years old, I believe. I was working for a surf company, traveling up and down the California coast, just surfing, which meant I had all this merchandise in my car. I was basically living out of this car. All my roommates were back in San Diego. And in this, I got the most depressed I've ever been in my life. So depressed that I just wanted to come home. And so depressed that at a time, I drove down to San Diego. I went to a church that I just heard about, and I walked in the back and just sat in a pew all by myself. Now, was I going to church? No. Did I know anyone there? No. But that was the amount of despair I had in that moment. And the pastor started talking, and people were coming in, and people knew each other, and they were talking. And so I was kind of part of the thing, but I was way in the back like an outcast. And two girls came and they sat right next to me and they just started asking me about my life. And who are you? And what are you doing? And then from there, they invited me to go to church another night. And a crazy thing happened. I actually went. I showed up to this new circle of people and they were Christians. And as much as it felt a little weird, it also felt nice to be part of community again and people who actually cared about me in that moment. And so during that time, we just started praying as one big circle. And isn't that weird when you're a new Christian and everyone's praying together and saying all these stained glass words? And I was like, oh boy, I know my turn is coming and I don't know any of the words, right? But it came to me and I started talking and something broke inside of me. And in front of a group of new people, I just started weeping. And I am not a good crier. It was like all like the chicken crier. I was like, ah, dear God, you know, that like horrible. But I was chicken crying. I broke down. But the amazing thing is I went on to establish myself at that church. I started serving there. I met God there and I've never looked back. And it all started with those girls giving me their time and just be willing to sit with me in where I was at that moment. And so here's the verse I want to encourage you with. It's 1 Peter 3:15. And I'm just going to start halfway down. It says, always be prepared to give an answer to everyone who asks you, to give the reason for the hope that you have. But do this with gentleness and respect. And I love those girls were not shy. They sat down. They were totally down to answer my dumb questions. And they were willing to just set aside maybe what they could have been doing or who they could have been talking to at that youth group night for me. But because of that, at that time, I was open to God for the first time in a long time. And they never even knew the amount of despair I had. But in that moment, it completely changed my life. So this week, as we head into Love Week, we want to encourage you. It doesn't have to be something as big as what those girls did. But you could just move towards a pay it forward moment at a Starbucks where you buy someone's coffee or you reach out to a new neighbor and you just introduce yourself and tell them a little bit about who you are and maybe invite them over the next week for coffee. But those types of things could impact someone the way it impacted me so much so long ago. All right, North Coasters, you got a great job to do, but you know what? I believe in you. All right, can't wait to hear about the great stuff you're doing during Love Week.